It's time now to move on to our next or the second panel discussion for the day. The topic of discussion is the importance of adequate infrastructure facilities and resources in K-12 schools and identifying strategies to bridge the gap. Kindly make a note that the panel discussion floor would be open for a Q&A session once the discussion is completed. And now, please allow me to introduce the panelists to you. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce you all to the first panelist, Mrs. Pratima Gupta, Assistant Director, Sunbeam Group of Educational Institutions, Varanasi. Before she joins us on stage, I would like to briefly introduce her. Mrs. Pratima Gupta, the person that Sunbeam Group associates with dynamic group leadership with care for all, has been instrumental in bringing in number of changes in the pedagogy and theology of Sunbeam Group. She has a lot of contribution in making school so interesting for little kids, in making teachers such an enthusiastic lot, in making the school environment so ripe with a spree of spontaneous ideas and experiments that spark excitement among teachers and the taught. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Mrs. Pratima Gupta. Let's have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our first panelist, Mrs. Pratima Gupta, Assistant Director, Sunbeam Group of Educational Institutions, Varanasi. Moving on to our next panelist, that is Mr. Rohit Patel, Managing Director of Little Flowers Group of Schools. While he joins us on stage, I would like to give a brief intro about Mr. Rohit. So he's an accomplished educationist and is the Managing Director of Little Flowers Group of Schools. He holds an MBA in school management from a prestigious IIM and possesses a BTech in computer science along with a B.Ed degree. With a remarkable history of visionary leadership, he has received numerous accolades, including the Times Education Award, Education World Grand Jury India School Rankings Award, and Brainfeed School Excellence Award. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. A very warm welcome to you, sir. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce you all to the next panelist, Mr. S.S. Sodhi, Pro Vice Chairman, Director, Delhi Public School, Jammu and Kashmir. He is a commerce graduate with a Master's in Educational Administration. Mr. S.S. Sodhi holds top brass experience in spearheading branches of Delhi public school institutions across North India with the aim to bring quality education to the Indian rural populace existing in the remotest part of the nation. Having been serving in the field of education for 30 years now, Mr. S.S. Sodhi currently holds the positions of Pro Vice Chairman and Director of Delhi Public Schools, Jammu and Kashmir, and Chairman of Jammu and Kashmir Intellectual Civil Society, New Delhi, and Chairman Trustee of GKS Memorial Foundation. Along with it, Executive Member of All India Unaided Public Schools Associations, New Delhi, and Executive Member of Global Forum for Education, Singapore. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Last but not the least, I would like to introduce you all. I would like to invite Mr. Xavier Thangaraj from the Little Flower Group of Institutions to please join us on stage. I would now request Mrs. Pratima Gupta, who is also... All right, apologies, correction in the name, Mr. Xavier Thangaraj. And now over to Mrs. Pratima Gupta, who is also the moderator of this panel discussion, to take this forward.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to be here on this forum and discuss and talk with my panelists, or rather deliberate with my panelists on a very, very important aspect of schooling and school life. For around the year, we have been attending conferences and we have been talking about so many issues. But I'm glad to say that this is the first forum where I have encountered a topic such as the importance of infrastructure in K-12 schools and the strategies for bridging the gap therein. At the last count, as my references go, There are about 14 lakh government schools in the country, and there are about 4 lakh private schools in the country. And as the adage says, the destiny of a nation lies within the four walls of its classrooms. Today, we will uncover and understand what it is that these four walls of the classroom are made of that actually impacts the destiny of our nation or any nation for that matter. We all know in today's times, education is something which is not only about the academic delivery systems, but is equally also about the ambience, the infrastructure, and the setting in which these academic delivery systems or the curriculum of a school is unpacked. I'm here today to talk with this august panel about why they feel infrastructure is important in a school, and if a school does not have adequate infrastructure, what impact does it have upon the teaching, learning, upon the socio-emotional growth of the individual in the school. We will try to take this topic and further its understanding from various dimensions. The first and foremost dimension that I'm going to take up about the importance of infrastructure in schools, with the permission of the panelists, of course, is let's talk something like a happy learner. How do you feel happiness quotient in a school can be influenced by the infrastructure of the school? Rohit, my question to you.
Good afternoon to everyone. The madam shared a wonderful insight why we need a new era infrastructure in the schools. So the main thing is happiness of a child. Whenever the child comes to school, the first thing, he have to be happy. When a child starts in pre-primary, the child comes first day to school. We don't start with the new curriculum, and first we settle the child. To settle the child in the school, the infrastructure, the learning environment play a major role for a child. We always try to decorate a classroom in a jungle theme or the fairy tale for a new child coming to school. But what after the child joins the school, it's been past 1 month or 2 months, the classroom becomes normal in most of the school. And majorly we talk about here to the major part of education, the government school, where they are working and how, why they are lacking behind. And not talking about the school in Delhi NCR, in Panavar, India. The major concern is the population we are serving out, the teacher-student ratio, and the funds that school are getting. The funds is also play a role in to providing the infrastructure. So as ma'am asked for providing the happy curriculum or the happy environment for the child, first we need to figure out how we can arrange the funds in the school. We have to figure out the different ways to arrange fund to arrange our infra. We can not always ask our government system to arrange funds. We can do the crowdfunding thing. We can ask our school alumni, the major stakeholder, so how we can create a fund to implement the happiness in the
Right,
classroom.
that's a beautiful point that you have raised, that I would want to take it as up as schools that have a lot of money will of course have a lot of wonderful infrastructure. Their schools can be shining, their school can have all sorts of modern amenities. But my question to you, Mr. Sodhi, is that do you always need money to create infrastructure? Do you always need funds to create infrastructure in a school in order to make a child happy? What is the alternate? I don't have enough money and still I want to provide quality experience to my child by doing something to my infrastructure. Any ideas with your vast experience?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, ma'am. Money is very important so far, so you want to have a extra infrastructure in the school because with the limited resources, it is not that easy to run with the competitive world today's date, because a lot of things have come now. Every day there is new invention. artificial intelligence is there. You need to involve the parents. If you don't have money, but at least you need to involve the parents to have a holistic value education with the infrastructure of physical awareness for everyone. And plus, to compete with the rest of the world, you need that kind of equipments, everything. So money is not that you can ignore the money. That's very important issue. But
yes.
it is not that you need to get money out of the parents' pocket. But you can. There are banks. There are financial institution. If you have a scope, you can see that you can make your school one of the best school in that remote area. You need to add on few things in that. Slowly, slowly, one can do. Not that in one stroke you can add everything, but always we should have parents' involvement in the school so that their ideas and their presence in the school will make double impact on the child. My point is this: money is important, but without money also we can make everything run, but within the limited sources it becomes little difficult.
So, some time back, I visited a school where they wanted their students to be involved in the beautification of the school. And rather than putting up, something very expensive and something very, very sophisticated, what they did was to generate an activity of a simple coloring and ask the students to paint wall murals on the walls of the school. So my point here is, and what sir is also saying, involve parents, involve students. It is not always necessary that you have to generate money. What you can do is organize an activity of a simple coloring up of the walls, involve the parents in it, involve the students in it, and aesthetics in schools can be managed if the entire community of the school comes together and tries to beautify the school. So while we are on this, let me go to my other panelist and ask him about, do you feel that in today's times, it is absolutely important to have infrastructure, and I'm talking about the massive digitization which we all have faced and which we all are working with in classrooms as well as in our schools. Do you feel the need to have adequate infrastructure to support the learning in school? And by this I mean the technological, the digitized infrastructure. Your opinion, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, panelists and Madam Pradeepa. The thing is, actually, the educationist is born and our learning happened during 80s and 70s. And by the time the question about the infrastructure and the classroom and what else we discussed so far, no such claim were there actually. And the happiness quotient were like anything because there was a lot of freedom for the student and teachers to access. But the opportunities, everything is limited. But the satisfaction quotient is too good by the time. Later on, when a lot of opportunities come and a lot of technology come, now the claim is completely different. The students coming with different aspirations and plan, and the students preparing for the future target right from kindergarten onwards. We could see now we could see the children admission coming for third standard with a specific requirement about he want to become an astronaut means he want some tailor-made arrangement in the school. Okay, with that request also people are coming. Okay, in India, like the versatile need and different schools to address the different students' need with some economical background, lot of choices are there actually. So that a lot of entrepreneurs, lot of new startup, lot of new elite schools are coming to address these issues. The clarity for the management is, the one who runs the school is, how we can involve and collaborate the resources inside the school which will address the need of the people, those who are coming for the education. Particularly, and we could see a video about the virtual reality, how we can travel in the human body and how we can learn about the minute thing what is happening in the body. But when I was learning, when my biology teacher who facilitated me during 1984, she made us virtually and in dreams how we can travel inside. That is the wonderful thing what the teacher has actually. But the basic need of the infrastructure is to ensure the satisfaction and the safety of the children. I hope that the education will spontaneously will happen.
Some time back, we had a very wonderful and a heart-stirring presentation by Commodore Karthikeya. And that got me thinking about my topic for the panel. And I want to ask Rohit this question, do you feel that good infrastructure has a part to play in fostering inclusivity in the school? If so, how?
The infrastructure play a role. It's totally true, but the major, the child is coming to school for the education of the child. The parents first thing want the education, and the infrastructure plays a role in it. But major infrastructure part is the school teacher and how we planning the curriculum for them. So I think first should be teaching, and the curriculum should be planned in a better way that parents and students first incline towards that, and rest our infrastructure of the school promotes it or make it more better for the students. The first thing is teaching and curriculum is more important for me.
Rightly said, because inclusivity means being open to children with diverse learning needs, children with special needs, and it's very important that the teachers of the school make the child feel welcome. However, I would like to underline the fact here that if your school does not have ramps, if your school does not have active learning labs where a child with special needs can be engaged, if your school does not acknowledge the fact that in the washrooms you need to provide washroom space for differently abled children, then in spite of all the love and affection, in spite of all the understanding and warmth and empathy that your teachers will be giving to the child will always, always feel marginalized. The child will always feel that there is understanding and acceptance, but there is no acknowledgement of the special efforts that need to be taken for me to play an important part in the school's fabric. So it's very important that schools design their infrastructure, and I would request every educator, I know affiliated schools, we all have this very, very growing concern about the facilities that we provide in the name of, having more diverse children in our schools. But I would ask everyone to go back today and take a long, hard look. Are we fostering inclusivity because it is yet another tick box, or do we really make a special child or a child with special needs feel a part of the school, because it has a lot to do with self-esteem. Those who require handrails to walk up, stairs which are very, very steep, are never going to feel confident about their own gait. It's as simple as a thing is when I walk up the stairs of this stage, do I need support? If I need support, where is it? And that is what defines whether the child will be volunteering to come up on your school stage or not. My panelist here picked up a very important part that children have to feel satisfied, yes, so the happiness quotient goes up, and children have to be safe. So what part and how can school infrastructure contribute to a child feeling safe in the school premises?
Thank you.
What are the essentials?
Thank you, ma'am. I do agree with you, the point you have raised. It is very important for a good architectural setup in the school where the confidence of the child, who's a special child or otherwise a weak child, the government is also very keen to include all sort of children from all walks of the area to be part of the same regular classroom and same desk they can sit. Like EWs, all the children, 25% their quota is there fixed. They are very confident. They have come in the limelight. Earlier they were not, and school is providing them the special vans, everything. So far the things are concerned about the particularly, if you say, it is very important what you said, and it should be there from the inception of the building when otherwise if there is not the system like that, we can adopt that with the help of the architects, help of the other educationists, and it's very important to create a confidence in the children if they get that kind of infrastructure there. I agree with you. You're absolutely fine.
Right. What are the 3 key areas in your school which you would want to make safe for your child? What are the 3 points that you would, as an educator or as the owner of a school or as the architect of a school, look for and say, yes, if this is there, the student in the school is safe?
Actually, as a safe is concerned, one is the physical safe. The physical safety can be ensured through the proper infrastructure, what we have, the size of the staircase and the handrails, and wherever the ramp is required for the access of the classrooms and the gap of the corridor and all actually. That should be ensured, and you know that the changing is happening across the globe. How previously the cinema theaters were and how it is. Likewise, the classrooms and everything to be changed based on the need. The school which is changing, automatically they have the physical infrastructure and everything to be addressed. The second one thing is the academic infrastructure. The academic infrastructure is nothing but the provision of the lot of technology and other labs and all. And it is not necessary that all the schools to accomplish all the needs of every students, because the students those who are coming to the school may be from the economically background and they may not be able to have the global access, and they have the limited means. The school may have the limited infrastructure to address the academic issues. The third one is the mental quotients and psychological infrastructure. That is nothing but the giving guidance and orientation to the girl child and the boy child to cross to adolescence and to fix the career and all, for which we have the programmed structure right from the day one. When the parents comes, we are giving a orientation to the parents, and when the the child, and we are giving about the good touch, bad touch, and other things about it. Right. When the child grows the age of maturity and all, by the time we give a special program for girl child like SHE, Safety and Health of Eve. And some special program for the boys also about character construction. And at the end, we give some career guidances for the children about entrepreneurship skill also. And even at the final, we give some mock interview and all. And this way, we are balancing all the needs of the children.
Right. Rohit, your take on safety in schools. What are the key areas that you feel school infrastructure should be catering to where it comes to having a safe child?
As you both shared, the main concern for the special child nowadays, there is new norms. Every old school need to upgrade themselves. As I'm heading the school, it's a 50 years old school, and it's now we are upgrading things as per the new norms, and things are going on. So for the three major areas, the one is the early years block. Every school need to be more safe and more need to be cared. Second, the school transportation, it's playing a major role nowadays, every increasing. And we have to, when we need to educate our child also for the road safety and the safety norms. But this will educate them, and our teacher regular trainings should be done.
Something which would be very, very helpful. At times, I know we are not very open to parents coming in and taking a round of the school. But if you could ask a few selected parents to come to your school and do a safety audit, believe me, the way you look at your school, you understand very clearly as to what are the shortcomings and the why of it. But when a parent walks through your corridors, when a parent takes a look at your library, at your washrooms, at your gymnasium, when a parent sees that school from the eyes of discerning what is safe and what is unsafe for his or her child, believe me, you get a wonderful, wonderful checklist. So I feel that as school people, as educators, we should not be shy. We should be inviting parents over for safety audits. And believe me, so many unforeseen calamities in a school can be, put an end to if only we are open about this, and if only we let the others who are well-meaning and have good intentions tell us well in time as to how we can make schools very safe spaces. There's an ongoing debate about children being addicted to gadgets, and how devices and technology have taken over the entire schools and how educators are struggling. And my question to you at this point of time is, do you feel that schools should continue with libraries, or we should have e-content in libraries only, which the students can peruse? This is going to be my last question to the panel. So let's make this very quick.
Yeah, school should be always, particularly will be always, the management of the school should give full power to the principal to at least give that kind of awareness to the children regarding their uses of gadgets.
Right.
Because they are too much involved. At the home also, parents should take care of that. the whole night children are on the mobile and the computer. It is harming their health. It is harming everywhere. Even the education, they are getting into trouble. So it is an inclusive kind of a work that all of us together should help the children not to get too much into this and the technology, so that that will later on will fetch them nothing but the disturbance in their mind.
Right. Your take, quickly. If you have not got enough space in your school to have a dedicated library, would you opt out for a strategy of having only e-content which the children can peruse on devices?
Ma'am, the e-content is not a solution because the book is really needed, and we can shift to the mobile library for that. We can turn every classroom in a library. Even we're using this practice in our school. We every time rotate books from one section to other in a month. So it can be done. The e-books is not a solution, but it's increasing the
So you won't.
screen
You won't.
time.
Right, your call.
Actually, the podcast and they have the subscription could Amazon, Kindle, and people are using. Whereas in schools, and we can make the collaboration happen, because a lot of students having books at home, actually, we can ask them to bring, and we can share the resources, what else they have. And thus practice is also welcome for them to maintain the well-being of the relationship and also being possible as well.
So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we can say that a school is made not only by hands, but mostly by hearts. It is your will, and it is the spirit that you have towards education that will actually shape the infrastructure of the school. While we cannot, will not, and should not ever overlook certain absolute mandatory statutes with regard to infrastructure, but at the same time, schools should not become only concrete jungles which have glossy tiles and wonderful architecture, but do not have the heart that beats for a child and his or her well-being. Thank you so much to all the panelists for joining me today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You've been a wonderful and interested audience. I don't know whether we have time to take questions or not, but do we have or do we not have? So stay with the questions and meet any of the panelists or myself outside whenever we have a tea break, and we can settle your curiosities. Thank you so much, all of you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful session. I'm sure we all enjoyed it. I would now request Mr. Anil Sharma to please join us on stage and felicitate our panelists. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen, for all the panelists. I would now request Mr. Anil Sharma to kindly felicitate all the panelists. Thank you so much, everyone.